Hi, friends. How are you all? I hope you're all well. Whatever is going on in your country or in your life, it is okay to take a few minutes for yourself. Have a cup of tea or a mug of coffee. It is okay to take a long shower or a bath, read a book, or just do nothing. Or if you want to, you can listen to me for a few minutes. Remember, you can't take care of anyone else if you do not take care of yourself first. Okay, guys, so today we're going to take Meghan's podcast number 7 right from the top and be warned. If I was still a little hesitant to call Meghan insane, I am no longer. She is indeed batshit crazy, in my opinion. I dare even a mental health professional to come argue this point with me. So let's take the podcast from the top. Meghan starts off by talking about Algorithms of Oppression, a book by Sophia Noble, and she talks about the stereotyping in the algorithm of the internet and tells how, according to the book, when Sophia typed in, "Why are black women so?" the autofill of the computer or the internet then search would spill out, "Why are black women so loud? Why are black women so mean? Why are black women so angry?" And then Meghan says that is how the seeds are being planted. And guess what? For once, she is right. But we have to look at by whom these seeds are planted and how they are purposefully changing intonations to suit their narrative, just like Sophia Noble did in her book. And to prove it to you, I conducted an experiment myself. I typed in, "Why are black women so?" And here is what I got from autofill and suggestions. Why are black women's hair different? What does it mean when a woman wears all black? Is Black Betty about a black woman? Why are black women so expensive? Why are black women so good? And why are black women so revealing? I then tried, "Why are black women so?" and I added an ellipse and I got, "Why are employment rates so low among black men? Why black women travel to Italy to find love? Why black men prefer white women? And lastly, why do some white men prefer black women?" However, and here is the crux, when I typed in, "Why are black women?" and I left the "so" out, here is what I got. Why are black women working so hard and being paid so, and I would guess little, but it left an ellipse. Why are black women so beautiful? 50 reasons. Why are black women so loud? Loud black girls, 20 black women writers as, and then ellipse, ellipse, and it refers to a book on Amazon. So whether Sophia meant to do this or not, her assumption about internet algorithms are incorrect because she did not explore it fully. By adding the word "so," leaving the sentence open-ended after "so" is almost like adding a tidbit of microaggression to the sentence. So yes, by adding the "so," the autofill in turn was slightly aggressive and came up with, "Why are black women so expensive? Why are black women so revealing?" But then we must also take into consideration that it gave us, "Why are black women so good?" Ellipse, ellipse. Taking the "so" out, I found the majority of the suggestions, though, positive. Why are they so beautiful? Why do they work so hard? Etc., etc. A good researcher should have done a better experiment than using the one sentence only instead of making some nuanced changes to gauge the results of it. But Sophia Noble did not do that because it did not suit her narrative. All right, and then after all of that, Meghan introduces Siwe, a Nigerian American comedian, actress, and writer, and Meghan lapses directly into her story that she had her genealogy done and found that she was 43% Nigerian. Well, my dears, I do not care where that came from, whether it came from some cheap online DNA testing or whether Meghan did not have a test done at all. It is a lie, and a lie is a lie is a lie, no matter where it came from. And this particular lie was a whopper of a lie, as it is scientifically impossible. On the screen is a breakdown of her mother, Doria's parental lineage, and it gives us more about her paternal side. Right on top, you will see that one of Meghan's ancestors, Steve Ragland, married Texie Hendrick, who was indeed white. From them was born Jeremiah Ragland, who married Claudia Ritchie, and Claudia Ritchie was classified mulatto, which is another word for colored or mixed. They in turn had six children: Dora, Steve R., Jerry, Paul, Lily, and another baby who passed away. Steve R., because of his mother's classification, was also classified mulatto, or then mixed or colored. He in turn married Louise Russell, who was, however, classified Negro. From them was born Alvin Azal Ragland, Doria's father. From Alvin's mother's side, the Russells, all were classified Negro right up until the Betts family came into the picture in the early 1900s, late 1800s, as the Betts family were considered mixed or then colored, and it is assumed that Joseph Betts was the product of an interracial liaison. Okay, so at most, that makes Doria 56% black at most. When Meghan was, however, born, it meant she inherited half of her mother's DNA and half of her father's. Her father's ancestry shows 100% Caucasian. And of course, that is broken up in Irish, British, Scottish, Scandinavian, blah, blah, blah. So Meghan was born with half her mother's DNA, which would then give her 28% black DNA, and we'll talk a bit later about how that could be broken up and broken into what. And then obviously she inherited 50% Caucasian DNA or white DNA. Now hang on, Bookie, I can hear you say, how's your maths today? What about the other 22%? Well, remember, Doria still has 44% something else in her DNA, a mixture of white and colored, or wherever it came from. So Meghan inherited half of that 44% as well. And what is half of 44%? 22%, of course. So Meghan's DNA should look like this: 50% Caucasian or European white, 28% black, and 22% from her mother's side white and colored. So it is also true to say that Meghan is only a quarter black. Or then let's give her a little bit of credit and say She's 28% black, which is a tad more than a quarter. Now, that 28% can be 1% Yoruba, an ethnic group from Nigeria, or it can be 3% Igbo, also an ethnic group from Nigeria. But it can also, due to intermarriage, contain DNA from peoples from Angola, Congo, Senegal, Gambia, and Mali. And I'm not pulling this out of a hat, my friends. I'm using statistics here, which states that half of all slaves taken to America came from the land between the Senegal and Gambia rivers. The rest came from the Congo, Angola, and Mali. And the reason is simple. The waterways in these places provided access to the slave market. A tiny, minute, very tiny portion came from the Bafria, or which is now a part of modern-day Nigeria and part Cameroon. And that was only made possible by a very small inlet here somewhere on the west coast. Unless she had a recent Nigerian intermarriage, which she doesn't, the chances that she has Yoruba or Igbo blood in her is already very slim. Not impossible, but very, very slim. And if she does, her Nigerian DNA would likely be 1 to 3% at the most. So once again, she's either lying about having taken the test or she's lying about the results to impress her guest. No matter what, she is lying, and I'm willing to bet on that. I guess if Meghan's next guest identifies as a star child, Meghan will claim she has 10% alien DNA in her as well. Okay, and then Meghan talks to Issa Rae, and they have a banter about coffee. And Meghan says that she only recently started drinking coffee again. She says she drank coffee on set, of course, but not while in the United Kingdom. I guess she never heard of Costa Coffee or Starbucks in England, but that's just me. Same, shame, poor ignorant gal. Stupid, really. I used to have coffee at Costa when I went to London and Starbucks when I went to the mall outside Wickham. My favorite coffee from the grocery store was Volcano or Assembly. But I guess Megsy did not know that either. However, she says, when life started to come back, she started drinking coffee again. Oh, bullshit, Meghan. Clearly, she does not remember her Cosmopolitan interview or her interview with Shape magazine, in which she said, and I quote, I think trying to go for coffee or things like that only end up hurting you in the end. So I like to get a really good natural source of energy like a green juice. Okay? Mhm. Or shall we go further back to September 2019 and what she told Lauren Wicks? She told Lauren Wicks she sees green juice more as a cup of coffee rather than a magical elixir and drinks them for energy on long days. Meghan doesn't drink coffee or any caffeine for that matter. Okay? Hmm. Yes, my dears, that was from September 2019. And tell me this, why didn't she take the opportunity to talk about clever brands? Surely, if she is still invested in these lattes, this would have been the moment to give them a plug. Anyway, the women found a common ground with View Park, Windsor Hills, where Doria lives, and Issa shot her first series and still lives. Later, Meghan and Issa talk about being particular. Issa explains that it is just not in her to be a bitch, but she aspires to be better or for things to be better, and how at one point she was wondering whether she was a control freak, but that a colleague replied saying, "Yeah, you are very particular," and how she then took that as a compliment. Meghan obviously didn't like it because she wanted to turn it into a negative, but Issa explains that she had a particular taste, and for her, it just means that she has a sense of what she wants to do. Ugh, and then Meghan lapses into this long, poor me narrative of how she finds herself tiptoeing and whispering, and how she told herself she needed to be clear and come out and say what she needs, that she feels entitled to set boundaries. According to Meghan, it does not make her demanding or difficult. Well, we all know what Meghan's perception of that is. She does not realize or understood what Issa was saying, namely, that you can get what you want without being a bitch. As always, Meghan gives her closing thoughts, and regardless of the fact that neither Issa nor Siwe actually took the bait and elaborated on that angry black woman narrative, Meghan reverts back to the what she calls unfair trope of angry black women and reads a poem by Maya Angelou. This podcast, I think more than any of the others before, shows the depth of Meghan's disturbance, her making up stories, lying, and not picking up on the nuances of a conversation and not learning anything from these conversations. Meghan had a long time ago lost her sense of identity, her goals. Her narrative is becoming almost argumentative in a bid to get her guest to agree with her. Her desperation and madness now hangs like a thick cloud of smoke over her every word. For us listening, it is hard listening, and I feel a sort of second-hand embarrassment for her. This woman needs medical and mental intervention and fast. Her condition, whatever it is worsening, and the fallout is not going to be pretty. You think I'm joking? No, I'm not. I have a habit of interrupting myself, but it is because my brain is going a mile a minute. But with Meghan, it's different. Not only does she interrupt herself, but she adds additional meaningless words, words with no meaning towards the context of the sentence. And it is thus sometimes hard to understand what she is trying to convey or trying to get at. For example, do you find that, you know, I was thinking about your origin story of moving around so much. So she starts with, "Do you find that?" And then she interrupts herself, "You know," which is unnecessary. She does not know what Meghan is thinking. It is so interesting for me hearing it from the outside, going, all those things inform the work you created. Now, going is one of those extra words which does not make sense in this sentence, and inform does not make sense. She should have said influence your work. So for me, this all points to a very disturbed, convoluted, mixed up brain when the words do not come out to mean what they are supposed to. And as someone who had a TIA and it affected my speech, I understand that only too well. And that is exactly why I'm saying Meghan Markle needs to see a doctor or a therapist and see that person fast. Because it is clear something is not computing well in the brain of Rachel Insane. And I think that unless there is some kind of intervention, that at some point her head is going to explode. Anyway, guys, that's it from me for today. For some reason, I am very tired, so I'm making this video a little late in the day, and I may not sound my usual self, and you will hear sounds coming from the kitchen, but I will be back with you as soon as possible. And I only think it was the heat today that got to me. I'm not feeling sick, so don't be worried. I'm sure I'll be back again tomorrow. So until then, please take good care of yourselves. Bye.